Now let us understand another concept. Till now we have studied that what is a default constructor and what is a parameterized constructor. Now we are going to see an example of constructor overloading. Overloading is basically the concept of polymorphism. It means when you have two or more similar things that has been given a different form to identify it. For example, in my program where I have taken a class box, I had already a default constructor. Let me write a parameterized constructor for this program. Let me say that there are two variables A and B which I'm going to assign to height and weight. So whatever the user gives values to A and B, it will be defined to height and weight variable. Let's say I again initialize another parameterized constructor where I say that I have just one argument length and both my variables height and weight are initialized with this value. So in this program, I am having two parameterized constructor and one default constructor. So here, what do you mean by overloading? It means that you have the same name constructors, all the constructor name is box, but they differ in number of arguments or type of arguments. In default constructor, there are no arguments, whereas in this constructor, you have two arguments and this constructor has one argument. So now the question is, how do the program understand which constructor it has to call? Let me again write a function where I have to calculate the product of both these variables. I'm going to print the values or the product of both this variable. Height into weight. So now in my next class, box main, I have defined public static void main. The first thing that I do is create three objects. So my first object name is OB1. My second object name is OB2. My third object name is OB3. And I write new box in front of all the three. Now the question arises, which object will consider which constructor to initialize its variable? So if I write nothing in the arguments of my constructor, it calls my default constructor where the value is assigned as 5.0 and 5.0 to my variables. So for the object 1, the value of height is equals to 5.0. The value of weight is equals to 5.0. Now let us call another constructor for object 2. If I pass two values in object 2 constructor, then it will call a constructor box which will be having two arguments and both the arguments should be of double data type. So let us move up in our class box and see, do we have such kind of a constructor? This constructor has two variables or two arguments and both are of double data type. So I can say that 1.0 will be assigned to height and 2.0 will be assigned to weight. So let us mark or let us show this in a class diagram. So the height values become 1.0 and the weight value become 2.0 for my object 2. Similarly, in object 3, if I write just one value like 3.0, then my object finds a constructor which has one argument and it should be a float data type. Let us again check, do we have such a constructor? See, in this constructor, I have one argument and it is of double data type. So I can say that my value 3.0 will be assigned to weight and it will be assigned to height. So coming back to my diagram, for object 3, I can say the value of height is equals to 3.0 and the value of weight is equals to 3.0. Now, if I have to calculate the product of object 1 instance variables, then I can say ob1 dot product. What will it do? It will multiply both the variables and will display the answer as 25.0. If I call the product function using the object 2, then the value that I will be getting back will be 2.0, 1 into 2.0. Similarly, if this product function is called using the object 3, then the values will be 3.3, 3.0 and 3.0, that will be 9.0. So this is the concept of constructor overloading, where you have constructors of similar name, but the difference will be in number of arguments or the data type of the arguments. Now, consider this scenario. You have a class box in which you have two instance variables, height and weight. You are having a constructor box that is a parameterized constructor, means it takes two values and assign these values to height and weight. So if I complete this block, it will become height is equals to height, weight is equals to weight. Now, when my object is created in my class box main and it calls this new is constructor parameterized one with 1.0 and 2.0 values, this 1.0 is assigned to this height and 2.0 is assigned to this weight. Now, when I see inside the block, I can see a statement as height is equals to height. Now, my compiler is confused as to which height belongs to which thing. Means, is it the class variable? Is it the instance variable? Or is it the arguments? To differentiate this or to solve this query, we use the concept of this keyword. This points to the object whose instance variables are height and weight, whereas this height and weight belongs to my arguments of the parameterized constructor. So if I see, I can say this belongs to box, means if I make a class diagram, then the height instance variable and the weight variable that is assigned to my object 1 of class box will be these values, this height and this weight, that is on the left side of the equals to sign, whereas this height and weight will carry the values as passed by the user in the arguments and will be assigned as 1.0 and 2.0 to my these variables. So basically this helps in solving the problem of same names, that is when the name of the instance variable are same as the name of my arguments. So I hope this concept is clear to you. Thank you.